Hey everybody, what's up? Apparently Plarium is announcing that they're at least hearing some of what the player base is saying, which is really refreshing. I almost made a video yesterday ranting about the state of the game, and I got about halfway through recording it and was like, I'll just do a how to build instead. And then today this comes out, so I'm kind of glad I didn't. Let's go over it and talk about what they're addressing and see how we feel about it, see what they're addressing, what they're not addressing, and how we feel about their answers. Might be a little bit of a longer video, but we'll do what we can. Suggestion 1, expand artifact storage and implement more convenient filtering system for artifacts and accessories. This is great. This is great news that they're hearing this. They say they realize how important it is, especially when you're playing actively, blah, blah, blah. The expansion is coming and one of the nearest releases, and we're going to work on filters too. Great news. One of the things I was talking about in the video I almost made yesterday was, what are we waiting on? Why don't we have more artifact storage yet? So that is encouraging to hear. Improved arena chest rewards. I'm with the idea. I agree. It was not a big point of contention for me, just because arena is not really competitive yet. But it is good news nevertheless. They say they're working on making PvP much bigger, which is also good news. It would be fun if arena was a little bit more competitive. Right now it's really just there for Great Hall, you know what I mean? So it would be nice if arena got a little more interesting. Provide more available runs in multi-battle. I'm so about this. I'm so about this idea. Yeah, they say they're considering it and running some tests. Hopefully those tests work out and we get more runs. I would be so down to have more multi-battle runs. Suggestion 4, make Tavern more convenient for navigation. I'm down for that. I've gotten used to the Tavern, so I don't think it's as big of a deal for me anymore, but I certainly understand it being very frustrating for players. I felt that way for a little bit. Not so much anymore. Like I said, I'm just kind of used to it, and I'm a little more focused on the other things. But it is good news. I'm probably going to say this a few times, but it's really refreshing to see this post and to know that they're hearing some of what we're saying. Even if they don't address everything we're saying, this is what has been missing. This is what's been missing. This acknowledgement that, yes, we hear you. Yes, we're considering the things you're saying. And even if the answer is no on some of these things, fine. At least let us know you're hearing us. That's a start. Connect with the player base a little more. So I appreciate that. Reset bonuses in Great Hall. This is one I hear a lot of people say. I don't know that I necessarily agree. Maybe more indication that you need to plan because of the missions. There was I upgraded a bunch of different things, and then when I got to certain points in the missions, it was like, man, if I would have known this was coming, I would have focused in on something. But I don't think it's that big of a deal. They say that they do understand the frustration, but they say they don't think it's a very good idea. I'm kind of with them, but I don't think it's a big deal either way. I don't care about this one personally. I know some people do. I don't necessarily care about that one. Make the destroy artifact confirmation window 100%. I went over that in my 10 things wrong with raid video. I accidentally sold or destroyed Turvold's armor because it didn't ask me if I was sure. So yeah, I'll say it again, 100%. This one needs to happen, and they say they're on it. Good to know. Good to know. Improve the market, add more valuable resources. Yeah, I could deal with that. I don't have a ton of problems with the market. My only complaint about the market is that they limit the amount of ancient shards that'll show up in it every month, and it's 4 or 5, I believe, and that's kind of aggravating. I would much rather them just lower the rate at which they show up and not limit them, so that people that are just going to have the RNG have it. That is the nature of the game, and it's frustrating. And speaking as someone who doesn't have good RNG, it's not like I'm hoping it'll work out great for me or anything. I just don't like the idea of limiting it. I feel like it's a game kind of based around RNG to an extent, so let the RNG do its thing. If it's going to favor some people and not others, that's just the way it is. And it's frustrating, and I hate it, and it drives me crazy, but I do think that's the way it should be. So I'll be interested to see what they do with the market. Suggestion 8, do something about the speed meta on the arena. We're aware that the current state of things with prevailing powers on arena makes you curious about whether or not it's going to change. As mentioned in the comment, we're going to improve this side of the game. New mechanics, champion skills. I'll be interested to see what they do. It's really hard to shift out of the speed meta. Speed is so important. It's more about creativity with your teams. There are ways to counter speed meta, and there are ways to do it currently. It is difficult, and you may need some very specific champs to do it. It is doable, but it's going to be really hard. Speed is almost always meta in games like this. First turn is just really hard to overcome. You know what I mean? Having a speed meta is really hard to get out of. So I'll be interested in their approach to this. But I don't know. I don't know if they're going to be able to change the speed meta. They may add more counters to it. Give you more opportunity to counter it should you decide you want to. But I think speed's always going to be the killer in the game. Speed is overall always going to be very important. But I'll be interested to see what they do with that. Bring in Arena Revenge. We will certainly try to make it come true in the future. It's a rather big feature. This one I haven't been too concerned with. In some ways, I'm kind of glad it's not there. Sometimes I get a little caught up in the Arena Revenge. It would be nice because as someone who uses my cleave as my defense, currently I use the same offense and defense. It would be nice to go in and see what happened. I think generally if my defense loses, it's just because I get outsped. But sometimes it would be cool to go in a revenge and just hit auto and see how the fight played out, so I could see what I need to tweak. If it's just that I need more speed on my Seeker, or maybe I'm not tuned as well as I thought I was, or it would be useful in situations like that. But I don't personally give I don't care too much about Arena Revenge, but apparently some players do because it got brought up here. So very cool that they're listening. Set a limit to summoning duplicate champs. The whole concept is based on the laws of randomness, and we cannot interfere in them. We have some excellent ideas for utilizing your duplicates. I think that's an excellent answer. I agree with them, again, as much, and this is speaking as someone who does not have phenomenal RNG. I know people that have phenomenal RNG, and as much as it drives me crazy, and as much as I like to joke that I hate them and all that stuff, I agree. It should be RNG based, and for whatever reason, it's going to favor some people, and it's not going to favor some people. And I do have some theories, some kind of conspiracy theories on how it works and why some people seem to be favored. But overall, I just kind of accept that it's probably RNG, and some people just happen to be lucky, and that's the way it is. I think it's an excellent answer to say that they're going to implement some ways to utilize the duplicates so that you're not just sitting there with duplicates. I know some people that have... there's a friend of mine that plays this game with me. He has more duplicate legendaries than I have legendaries. So this is really good news to people like him who just pull legendaries constantly. You're inevitably going to get some duplicates. So it's nice for the players like that to know, okay, cool, I don't have to sit on 3 martyrs now. You know what I mean? There's going to be something to do with them. So I think that's a fantastic answer to that one. Add 5 more levels to Minotaur. Not in the plans, however, there will be some changes. I was talking about this on the stream the other night, and I was kind of joking that I wish there was a Minotaur 20 just to make the grind easier. I think that the way the dungeons scale, if there was a Minotaur 20, it would be... I have mixed feelings about it. On one end, I think, yeah, it would be great. If you're capable of doing it, you should be able to shorten the grind. On the other end, I think it shortens the grind a lot at the rate that the dungeons were scaling. So it'll be interesting to see what kind of changes they implement here to answer that suggestion. I'll be curious to see how they approach that. Considering granting clan bosses the ability to hit through block damage, I have been saying, I know some people that have unkillable clan boss teams. I'm actually going to be making a video on that soon, if I can link up with one of my clan mates, because he's running an unkillable team that is just ridiculous how much damage he does. And I know a lot of people that are working on it, and I was saying to them, aren't you worried there's no way they're going to let this stay in the game long. So you're spending all this time and resources on building this team that inevitably is going to get nerfed. There's no way they're going to let people be doing, the dude in my clan is doing, 75 to 85 million a key. And I think he's just ending the run when he gets sick of it. I don't think he's ever actually losing. So that'll be interesting to see how they approach that. Unkillable could be an interesting thing because it makes champs like Skull Crusher a little bit less viable. One of the the counterattack is the big appeal, but one of the nice things about him is that he also puts that unkillable buff. So it'll be interesting to see how they tweak that without kind of screwing Skull Crusher up too much. But I'm open to it. Rewards for clan achievements. Yeah, that would be a good idea. I've seen those in there, and I don't really understand the purpose for them. So that'll be nice. Extend the daily login rewards program. Absolutely. This is another thing I went over in my video. They should never end. It has to be an ongoing thing, and I do think my suggestion is a great one. Let it be on a revolving program, just like the quest. They're unique to a player, so they reset when you finish them. You don't get punished for missing days, and just let it loop every 30 days or whatever. There's no reason that it can't be something like that. So hopefully they do something along those lines. We'll see. But I agree with that one wholeheartedly. The daily login rewards program just has to be ongoing. It's necessary. All these games have it. You gotta catch up on that. Improving the vault. Extend it and bring the vault sorting to the pre-battle window. Yeah, that would be cool to be able to access the vault. What would also be cool is when you're in the vault, if you could look at the champs in the vault without having to pull them out. Like, you can see the gear on them, but if I want to check their skills, if I'm trying to hunt someone specific down, I don't want to pull them out of the vault and then have to go through them. It would be nice if I could go through them in the vault. So I'm interested to see what kind of stuff they do with the vault. Implement a push notification for clan leaders and their substitutes to inform them about members joining or leaving clans. That's a good idea. When I don't have my clan anymore. I joined a clan from one of my my viewers, and yeah, there were, we would be at 30, and then I would go in one day to just check our roster and see, how it was doing and check for inactive logins, and we'd be down to like 23 people, and I had no idea that we were missing people. So that's a good idea. That's something I didn't consider, but that is a good idea. Show the damage dealt to a clan boss in real time. That's a good idea too. That's a good idea. I like that. Something else I didn't think of. I thought of it like indirectly, but I never formed it into an actual thought to express. I do remember that it's been in my head before. As I'm doing clan boss, I'm always like, I wish I could see how much damage I've done so far. But I never formed it into here's a good idea. So that is a good one. Rebalance faction war stages. Yeah. I'm told I'm not that deep in faction wars yet. I think the highest I'm on is 12 in a couple of them. But I'm told that they start to really ramp up after 12. That it's just absurd how hard they are. So I'm with that one. And then it says our game designers have a lot of exciting stuff up their sleeve, working intensely on step by step bringing them to life. Okay, so there are some things that didn't get addressed here. The big one I was hoping to see was dungeon difficulty. I think dungeon difficulty really needs a visit, particularly in Spider and Ice Golem. I think something's wrong. Ice Golem is too hard for the dungeon that it's supposed to be. Spider is too hard overall. I was talking about this in the stream, and it's what I almost made a video on, but the fact that there's this kind of small group of cool kid champs that you have to do certain levels of Spider, but namely Cold Hearts, Royal Guards, and then things like Ghostborn, Draco. There's a small group of champs that are almost mandatory to get through the deeper levels of Spider. There's something wrong with the dungeon if that's the case. You have to make all these things accessible to free-to-play players. And I don't think there's a free-to-play team right now that can go in and do Spider 20. I just don't think it exists. Unless you're a very lucky free-to-play player. But when I say free-to-play, I mean rares. Some farmable champs, some solid rares that maybe you pull from ancient shards, one of the big appeals to Summoner's War, and one of my favorite types of videos to make for Summoner's War, was how to make farmable teams that can do all the hardest dungeons. So Giants 10, Dragons 10, for anybody that's familiar with Summoner's War, I would put together teams for newer players that showed them, like, here, this is farmable, all nat 2s, all nat 3s, that you can bring into this dungeon and complete it. And that's just not doable in this game. You know, there are some rare teams that can do dragons. There are some rare teams that can do ice golem. Probably have to include some voids, though, and generally you don't want to do that because it's hard to bank on pulling a void as a free-to-play player. So I would love to see the dungeons adjusted a little bit so that we could start making content like that for the players that aren't spending a bunch of money and having a bunch of luck. But so yeah, I'm a little bummed that they didn't address dungeon difficulty here, but overall I think it's a great move. I think it's a great step in the right direction because Plarium has not been looking hot for a minute now, and you know, it's been very frustrating, and this is really encouraging and refreshing to see. I feel a little bit optimistic again. I didn't have a lot of optimism for what they were doing for a little bit, but I'm feeling pretty good about this. So So we will see what they do with this post. We'll see what kind of changes they do and how we feel about them. I do appreciate this post. I appreciate the the transparency, and I appreciate that they said no to some of it. You know, that's important too. I want them to listen to us. I don't want them to do everything we say, but I want to know that the players are listened to, and this is a great step in that direction. So let me know how you feel about this in the comments, and if there's anything that they didn't talk about that you wish they would have talked about. I'd be interested to know how the rest of the player base feels about this. So yeah, I appreciate you watching. I hope you had a good time. I'm feeling pretty good about it. I'll catch you guys in the next video.